We are making this adorable project today. I call this project Kitty Cup. Here are the materials we need. To start, we need to draw in our cup. You can draw it in or you can do it this way. I find it easier to use scratch paper to create a stencil. So I'm taking half a sheet of scratch paper and I'm going to create that fold there right in the middle and cut the edges so that it resembles a cup. Just like how you would create a heart with this method. There's my cup. But this cup is a little bit too large, so I will try to trim it down. So I fold it back and trim that edge a little bit more. I need to create a cup that fits on my paper nicely so that there's also a handle on the side. So I need to cut this down a little bit more and even kind of shorten that cup a little bit by cutting the top off. I still think it's way too big, so I will just trim a little bit more until I find the perfect size. I think the sizing is perfect, just enough room for that handle on the side also. Now I'm folding my cup in half and I'm going to go towards the top and cut a curved line so it resembles the curved line on the top of the cup. I'm not so happy with that top cut, so what I'm going to do is try to do it again, trim it straight, and then it curves up on the sides of the cup. Once I'm happy with that, I can now trace this cup onto my paper. And I'm putting it towards the left of the paper so that I can add my handle on the right side. We can now put that aside and let's do the eyes. Taking our nickel, I'm going to trace 2 round circles on this stencil paper. We don't want to waste that. And then drawing 2 circles like this for the reflection of the eyes. I'm taking a black crayon and outlining that middle section and then erasing the extra pencil lines. Now color that middle section in with high pressure, so we want it really dark, just like this. Taking the eye color of your choice, draw a ring around that black dark center, and then making sure that you leave your reflection white. So I'm pressing down pretty hard, creating that nice color, and then that black will kind of blend out into your color, which is fine. And then just cut these eyeballs out. What I also do is I will put these eyeballs right on top of each other and then cut them so that they can both be very similar in size, just like this. We can set the eyeballs aside and let's do more with the cup that we have. So I'm going to just give my cup a nice darker line and then add in my handle here. You can add any type of handle you want. Just make sure you use your pencil and make sure that you have some areas that are darker and lighter with your design. Like here, these lines are a little bit darker than the rest of my designs. And then I will just go in and create some shadows. I'm laying my pencil down so that I can cover a bigger area. And then also it creates a lighter line or lighter shade of my pencil. Once I have this light layer of pencil down where I want my shadows, I'm going to smudge the area so it gives a smoother shadow. You can use your fingers, or here I'm using 1 square of toilet paper, folding it a few times. And then now just smudge where that shadow areas are. I'm also going to go into my rose and create some shadows between the petals. So I'm adding more pencil, some more graphite here where the shadows are, and then using that tissue to kind of blend it out to create that smooth look. Here I'm going back to create more shadows that are a little bit darker. So I'm just adding another layer on and then smudging it out. Depending on the pencil that you have, it can have lead that is softer or harder or darker. So it really depends on the pencil that you're using. I would like my pencil to look a lot of darker on my paper, but the pencil I'm using doesn't allow me to do that. So what I have is just using light and dark pressure and making sure I use a combination of that on my design. Now I'm also going to add some shadows towards the inside of my handle. So I'm just adding down that pencil, just a very light layer, and then using my tissue to smudge it out. Again, it's always good to have darker pencil areas. So here I'm just going in towards the rim of my cup and just adding more pencil. So making it a lot darker. And I'm using a heavier hand, so I'm using more pressure to create that darker shade of pencil. Once you are done with your cup design, let's add in our kitty. I'm just going to add the head of the kitty, and all it is this round hill right inside of the cup. I'm going to see if my eyeballs will fit in there, see if I need to make a bigger head or not. I think it looks okay. Now I can go in and add my ears. I'm adding 2 ears right on top here. Try to make them as similar as possible. And then just darken in those lines a little bit more. Now laying your pencil down, color in that head. You want to use pretty high pressure so that you get a really dark pencil color. And I'll go in between layers with my tissue and smudge it in so that it'll be nice and smooth. And then you want to do the same thing with your ears, darken that up, smoothing it out with your tissue. The last layer of pencil we want to add on this kitty is the fur. We want to create lines that go in and out just like this. Make sure you go in the same direction, back and forth like this on the top, and then another layer in the center. So now you have these nice darker lines, and we don't want to smudge it all too much because we want to keep those lines visible so that it creates that look of fur. I want my lines to be as dark as possible, so I'm going back in to create more lines so that it can be darker. I'm going in with my eraser to kind of just whiten out the areas where there shouldn't be any shadows. So around my cup, and then also certain areas on my rose. I'm going in to create darker leaves, so I'm just going to add more of that pencil color in there. I also use my eraser to kind of clean around the cup so that it just looks nicer and there aren't any smudges outside of my cup. Now I want to add another shadow right under the cup, so I'm going in with a flat pencil, using my tissue to smooth that shadow out. The last thing we need to do is glue down these eyeballs. So where do you want them to be? Right like this, or do you want it to be closer or further apart? It's all up to you. Find the right spot for you. Like I mentioned before, your cup design can be anything. It doesn't have to be roses like mine. And your eye color can be any color you want. I made a second set just to see what that looks like. I hope you had so much fun doing this. I can't wait for you to share all of your work. See you next week. Bye.